maintenance. Very excited for today's deck. I've had it prepped for a couple days now. But this is an affinity build that's built around Unctus Grand Metatect. For the rest of this stream, going to be known as UGM. I think Unctus is just like one of the worst names to pronounce ever. It sounds really bad coming out of the mouth. This is a 3-mana 2/4 artifact, blue artifact creature. It says, other blue creatures you control have this ability. Whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. And also, other artifact creatures get +1/+1. And so you can also pay a Phyrexian blue to have a creature you control become a blue artifact in addition to its other types, which will, let them trigger this ability, which means that Unctus can turn Emry or Riddlesmith, or Ovalchase Daredevil, I guess, into artifacts, which also buffs them, and Unctus can turn Ornithopter, Memnite, Urza Saga tokens, Smuggler's Copter into blue creatures to trigger its own ability. And it can do so for 0 mana as well. And what's cool about this ability is that it gives you kind of 8 of these powerful looting effects where you can draw a lot of cards and discard cards a lot of turns in combination with Ovalchase Daredevil, where you'll be able to draw your Ovalchase Daredevil, discard it, and then return it back into your hand. And you basically, if you can have an Ovalchase Daredevil in the hand or the yard, with Emry it's not that hard to do so. Basically, every time one of these 2 cards will trigger, it equals draw a card. And so in this deck, you can go like turn 2 Riddlesmith, Memnite Ornithopter, tap your Springleaf Drum, cast a 1-drop, draw like 3 cards. And then Unctus can also draw you several cards each turn, every turn, while also lording your entire board. And so Riddlesmith to loot is just casting an artifact spell, and for Unctus to loot, you can tap Emry to its ability, you can tap any creature besides Unctus to Springleaf Drum, or you can crew Smuggler's Copter. These are all ways to, or you can just attack. These are all your ways to trigger this whenever creature becomes tapped. So you actually have like a lot of ways to tap creatures between Emry's ability, Springleaf Drum, Smuggler's Copter, and obviously, again, just attacking. And what's cool about this build is that the amount of card advantage you have with Riddlesmith Unctus lets you be, in theory, a lot more resilient to the Force of Vigors and the really effective hate that keeps Affinity at bay, is the theory here. We also get access to Soulless Jailer, a card I haven't played yet, but I think makes a lot of sense. It's kind of your anti-Cascade card in Affinity. It's a 2-mana 0/4. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and then players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyard or exile. So this stops Reanimation and Cascade mostly. And then so we kind of have these plus the Chalices for the Cascade matchups, and then Spellskite's kind of our our creativity target. And we're splashing green also for Haywire Mite in the side, which is a very, very good card, obviously. All right, let's play some games. In my experience, it's like, you always have this sounds great. You have the decision point to choose to pay life or choose to pay mana or not choose to draw cards at all. And I think that it's fine. I think that it's fine. You're an aggro deck, you have Shadowspear, you can gain a lot of life if you need to pay a lot of life, but you're also okay like having Unctus only draw you like a couple of cards the turn it comes down instead of like 4, which is pretty good on a 3-mana Lord. Awesome first turn though. And we even milled over an Ovalchase Daredevil, Shadowspear, Smuggler's Copter as well. A land off the top would be nice, but this is certainly not too bad. It looks like we're up against Titan. We did draw the land. So, yeah, why don't we just play Springleaf Drum and plan to make a Saga token here? Do I plan to work on Neoform Yawgmoth again? Maybe. I'm not unopposed to it. Well, filter for green. I haven't seen that play very often. Could maybe be playing some Ashioks in the sideboard, although, the Haywire Mites are also pretty good in this matchup. Yeah, late stream, there was Magic Online maintenance today. Okay, I think we're not making a second Saga token. I think I'm getting Mox Amber. I think this is going to be the card that is going to let me most easily play multiple Thought Monitors this turn. It's because right now my affinity is 5. Unless the construct always tells you what your affinity is. So I'm going to go ahead and just cast Shadowspear into Thought Monitor. And then there's a Cranial Plating, which I could play and equip this turn, but I would not also be able to equip Shadowspear. So instead, let's just play right now. Second Thought Monitor, Ornithopter, Botanical Sanctum. You know, just kind of a normal affinity start here, but normal affinity starts are pretty good. All right. Pretty big deal to win game 1 in a matchup that I think is actually pretty bad. We'll see if the card advantage will help us play through the inevitable Force of Vigors that are coming in here. We do get access to Haywire Mite, which is a nice one. I think this is a matchup where I'm going to cut all my Copters. And then Shadowspear was actually pretty relevant that game. I may want to cut it though. Spellskite is also like somewhat nice against Beseiju and their haste land. I don't think I can really afford to bring one in. I could play a Chalice. I have a lot of 0-drops of my own though. A lot of lists have got Force of Vigor, leaving Helling and Beseiju. I've seen Force of Vigor recently, but I don't know. It's I think we could agree that the Titan lists are to some extent a little all over the place. You're gonna bring in Needle for Beseiju. Freaking Needle, Beseiju, Hasteland, Gardens. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to update the stream deck. I'll do that in a second. I'll bring in a Needle. I'll cut an Emry also. Maybe Emry's good in this matchup, but we still have 3. I know the title here is Blue Steel, but I kind of started bringing around Unctus in like the more traditional Blue Steel Chief Engineer style shell, and I ended up like feeling like none of those lists felt particularly good to me. I might be able to figure them out later, but I think being more in on like the looting effect of Unctus has felt a bit better so far. Not that there's maybe no way to do both at the same time. My opponent kept 7. I think we're gonna have to somewhat reluctantly keep this on 6. Yeah, Daredevil and Unctus both very good with Riddlesmith. This is a good draw. This is gonna allow me to play either a turn 2 Unctus or a turn 2 just a Saga token. Yeah, Needle for O-Stone. Game 2 on the draw is going to be very tough, especially against Garden's Amulet. Why the Pathways? We're splashing for Haywire Mite, so the Pathways have like a relatively low opportunity cost in a mostly blue deck. Pretty scary. Even if we draw a Haywire Mite here, we can only kill 1 Amulet, then they'll still have 2. What about a few, just a few Squee Nabobs? I don't think that I would want to play more than 4 Daredevils, and they would all be much worse than Daredevil because you're drawing multiple cards a turn. Squee only lets you do 1. Yeah, this is definitely the kind of matchup that Gardens really shines in. My opponent has like played their land, so I'm like, they must have Force, right? If they're going to be tanking this long. I don't really think I can beat it though. I'm just gonna play my Unctus. I drew Ovalchase Daredevil, so this is going to present a lot of cards every turn going forward, and my stream title is wrong. Try refreshing. It looks I'm reading it as Modern Unctus Riddlesmith Affinity. My opponent doesn't have anything. Let's freaking go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this trigger on the stack. Till end of turn. Wait, why can't I activate this ability? I have priority. Why can't I activate this ability? I was able to activate it recently. I want to target my Memnite. Activate only as a sorcerer. Okay, that's not something I was aware was on the card. Interesting. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna make a mana then. Just make a mana, get a Springleaf Drum. Play an Ornithopter. Didn't come up in my testing, I guess. Alright, so we get to loot here. And then... playing Emry this turn's pretty nice. Get to go Emry into... tap Emry to drum, loot. Don't want second... I guess I can discard the Ornithopter. I could maybe just cast this second Ornithopter off the Emry next turn. Okay, then I'll go pay 2 life. Discard the Daredevil. Source because of Scralv Unlimited. Well, obviously my opponent's just dead next turn if they can't kill me. I'm probably dead to a bounce land off the top. They didn't have one last turn. Yeah, like this was how my testing was going to. Unctus is like, look, it's like passively providing 4 power on the board while also just being a really powerful card advantage engine. Okay, so let's go. I guess I cast Gingerbrute first, since that's going to get the Daredevil back to my hand. Cast the... yeah, got it. We're going to draw like 5 cards this turn or something. Cool. Well, lucky to beat Titan. That's definitely a bad matchup, though. Be so good with a 0 mana creature. Just kind of simply put, also, Ichor Gauntlet is a 3 mana sorcery speed card that needs you to have like other powerful permanents in play and lots of non-creature spells, which like is just too much for 3 mana. You need to have too many resources. Okay, we're unfortunately on the play. I found that Unctus also fills up the yard really fast. Is there anything I've tested have in mind that could take advantage of that part from Emry? Well, Ovalchase Daredevil mostly is the combo. Like, you know, we're just drawing a lot of cards with Ovalchase Daredevil. I don't think that there's many other cards that really are like playable and necessary in addition to the 4 Daredevils. Any cool delve cards? Not that are, you know, legal in the format. Because there's Murktide Regent. Okay, Verdant Catacombs. It's kind of close actually between these two. Let me play the Riddlesmith. I get to cast the Aether Spellbomb this turn. We obviously don't have a Daredevil yet, but oh yes we do, baby. Yes we do. So now every artifact we cast is just draw a card. Yeah, Copter, whenever you crew with Unctus, it triggers Unctus, which is kind of fun. What are they doing? They could be playing Gorios, they could be playing Crabvine. Yeah, probably a Gorios deck, so kind of nice to have this Aether Spellbomb, I guess. Yeah, it could be a Soul Flare. That's a good draw. Alright, so we go Memnite. Loot this away. Wow. 0 drop into 0 is kind of nuts. I've had a few different Riddlesmith brews in the past. Other people have too, but it's always been a pretty delicate balance of a card. Probably best to make a token this turn to put a lot of pressure on my opponent. We also get to keep up the Aether Spellbomb. And if they are, I mean, the Tainted Indulgence I think means not Crabvine, but if they are somehow Crabvine, Saga token is going to be pretty key to winning. Yeah, it looks like the Neoform deck that I played the other day. Not necessarily that. Yeah, so Soulless Jailer doesn't stop Neoform like Grafdigger's Cage does, but does stop Cascade like Grafdigger's Cage doesn't. Yes, they might be Neoforming this turn. Yeah, it looks like they're Delving Tasigur, and then they'll Neoform into Atraxa. But I have the Aether Spellbomb, thankfully, and luckily. And their Griefs and their Force of Negations that they can draw into won't be too scary. So they reveal Mandrills, Grief, Gorios, Neoform. They'll get a land too. They choose Grief, Misty Rainforest, Neoform, and Tainted Indulgence. Do not mind at all if they Grief here. We may even just have lethal. Might have to get a little lucky to have lethal, but we get to look at so many cards. Almost definitely not making a token, because I think that just like being able to try to chain with Riddlesmith is probably more important. Then Shadowspear is also kind of appealing. Alternatively, Gingerbrute being unblockable is kind of cute and it's 1 extra damage. Let me get that. You kind of need to chain some things together here. Actually bricked. Okay, that's fine. Still gonna send in for nearly lethal. This is... I guess I missed lethal. I think I put them to 1 here, right? But then Gingerbrute unblockable should be game unless they can put... I guess if they can Neoform... Oh, they can Neoform for Sarah's Emissary on creature. And my only way to beat that would be my Otawara or Emry on Aether Spellbomb. So they should be able to go Grief, Pitch Indulgence. Oh, but they don't have enough green to go Hooting Mandrill's Neoform. Yeah, they don't have enough green. Let's bring in the Lantern, the Tormod's Crypt. Soulless Jailer turns off Goryo's Vengeance, which is half of the deck, but does not turn off Neoform. Probably still worth bringing in. My opponent's also going to have Force of Vigor post board, 4 of them, which is a problem. Spellskite not actually that good against Force of Vigor, I suppose. So what I think the best plan is probably going to be to like just, you know, what the whole reason behind we're even playing this version is that we are a bit easier at. It's a bit easier for us to outgrind Force of Vigor with the Riddlesmith Unctus card advantage. Would a 1-of Cookbook not be good? I don't think so. Like, so it gives you an artifact every turn with Daredevil, and it can gain life. Could be good against like food, so against burn. Maybe. I don't hate the thought. Kind of warming up to it, really. Riddlesmith may just be better than Asmo and Shredder. Well, maybe. The problem is with Riddlesmith and food is you don't actually have that many artifacts to cast to trigger it. It's less than you might think. Yeah, cast not enter. Why no Orvar? I have Spellskite as my anti-creativity deck. You could play Orvar instead, but what's kind of cool about Spellskite is that it is like a little bit more of a versatile sideboard card. And I've been liking Spellskite more lately, but you can build a deck how you like. Would a red splash for Breach to really go off in the grindy matchups to be win more? Well, I'm not playing Bobble at the moment, so I don't know. Probably win more, maybe not. Grand Architect. Yeah, So I started this deck as a Grand Architect build with Chief Engineer sometimes, like really trying to build that kind of more traditional blue steel variant. But after some playtesting, I ended up liking this version a lot more. Building more around the looting effect of Unctus rather than the blue creature tap factor. So we don't have a Ovalchase Daredevil yet, but we're still looting. Could find an Ovalchase Daredevil. Probably loot away second Riddlesmith. This deck is really good at turn 3 Atraxa, so we may run into that here. We'll see. If they don't put an Atraxa into play this next turn, things will be a lot more difficult to them, and we've also been lucky enough to just, like, natty Aether Spellbomb twice. They can maybe have Force Negation. Is the Druid... Okay, Graveyard Needle. Is the Druid combo deck you played 2 weeks ago still how I'd recommend building the deck? For the most part, yeah. I still like the general ideas of, like, no Birds of Paradise, no Hierarch, 4 Esper Sentinel. I need to work on Druid plus Asmo. I think that there is some potential there, and I haven't really explored super hard, but you know, I just have to get that done. Okay, so the Goryo's Atraxa, plus the Force of Vigor, and they do find an Essence Flux, and they find a Polluted Delta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're going to be able to flicker their Atraxa. I think I'm just going to go ahead and concede. It looks like they're playing the list I played yesterday. It was either yesterday or Monday. Can't really remember. Okay, game 3 on the play. Cutting Copter seems like you'd have too few arts. Artifacts? No way. Unctus is an artifact itself. That may be something to consider. Oh yeah, yesterday was the all will be one deck, which was pretty sick. I mean, I'm even like the Copters that I'm cutting. I'm cutting them for other artifacts too. Okay, can't quite turn to Unctus. We can play Ornithopter next turn. I'm gonna hold this for Riddlesmith though. Gonna be graveyarding their, or Tormod scripting their graveyard aggressively enough to stop them from delving. Guess we kind of got. Not really. It doesn't really matter. Play draw matters a lot here. Emry very good against Force. Could just... Yeah, I think we'll just get these in play, because if we draw a land, we can go cast Unctus with Emry into turn all of these into blue creatures, and then loot multiple times. Although if my opponent casts a Thought Scour or other really gaze, I do have to Tormod's Crypt. This deck would love an Opal, but no way to use Amber. We have 8 legends for Amber. 4 Emry, 4 Unctus. But sure would love Opal. For sure, Z's. When brewing, what would be 3 good main criteria for me to look at for Modern to help develop it? Any good brew always starts with a good idea. Good ideas, like that concept is, you know, of course, somewhat abstract, but you cannot have a good brew without a good idea, and from there's a lot of nuance between like what does it mean to maximize an idea? What does it mean to have figure out if your idea is good enough? There's a lot of nuance beyond that, but really it's just all about having a good idea and then maximizing that idea, and then seeing if it's competitive enough for Modern. Riddlesmith was a really good draw, by the way. So I'm not going to sack the Crypt unless my opponent has the ability to delve, which means if my opponent sacks a fetch land, I will Crypt here. Yeah, I guess I'm crypting. So the main idea is Unctus's loot or Ovalchase being recycled through artifact drops. Yeah, Unctus and Riddlesmith both let you loop Ovalchase Daredevil a lot. And what's cool is Unctus lets you do that while also just being a pretty reasonable card. Okay, so they do have a land, so that does mean that they can Mandrills if they have a Mandrills. It does not appear they have a Mandrills, which is very nice. Dark Souls for second stream. Yeah, we did Magic or Dark Souls for the first stream, and then I'm going to be actually adapting my Dark Souls strategy going forward. So we're going to be, I'm going to be doing some practice off stream. I may end up taking a day off to to adapt the strat, because we're gonna be using. I'm gonna try to use the Black Knight Halberd going forward, I think, instead of the Crystal Halberd. I was looking at an old Hob VOD, and it's kind of weird because a lot of the strategies Hob is using seem to be like a little out of date, if that's the right word. A little out of date for like what I'm doing. Like a lot, like what I mean by that is like a lot of the strategies I'm doing have evolved from these earlier videos, but the Black Knight Halberd will make Ornstein and Smo, I think, like significantly easier the more I'm looking at it. It'll also make Four Kings easier. It'll take more time. It'll take more time to like set up, but that's okay because the run is already taking forever. So I think just it taking more time is fine. So using the Black Knight Halberd has a much smaller percentage chance to drop. It's like, I think it's 15%, but using the 4 humanity raises that to like a little bit higher. But that's okay because it is early. Also, it's like it's early when you could get it, and it's really not that big of a problem. Do you need high DPS for the fights? That's the idea. Yeah. So the DPS you could get from this new strategy would let you stun Ornstein on an attack, I believe, which would be really, really key. Okay, discard this. Two, draw 3 really. Love to find the Mox Amber. There we go. I guess we're still not like winning this turn, but I think we're gonna be putting ourselves in a really good position for next turn. And we also get to, show off this this deck idea here. Seems like they were Dob, were they? Oh, just cast Unctus attack. Yep. Oops. Blinded by the cards as usual. Avarice Fracture drop chance. No, you don't have Avarice by the time when you get the Halberd. You get the Halberd really early though, so you just get to reset. Okay, so if I sin with everything, I'll put my opponent to 4, which is, I guess, not the most relevant number. That's okay. I don't think that Atraxa this turn is enough to win, and they've already exiled their Sarah's Emissary. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be enough. Because Unctus lords everything. I guess I have to pay mana for... I have to Unctus the blue creatures. One Urza could not enter. You could play an Urza. I know I'm not currently playing an Urza. This is still an early draft. You could play an Urza. It would be okay. One Urza would be... Like, 1 or 2 Urza like would let you like loop through the deck. And, the problem from that is, like... At that point, you want a combo piece. We're still in an early draft. Okay, they put Misty, Reinforce, Neoform, Tassiger, and Force. So gonna have to play through a Force of Vigor this turn. Finding our Aether Spellbomb would be easy mode. Delta 22, for all my reasons, one I'm most proud of. Not really. Just I'm always on to the next thing, you know. So I'm almost definitely going to start with Unctus here. We have 28 cards in our library. Unctus is lethal through force. Unctus is forcible is the problem. But if my opponent's going to do this, then this is fine. They may have another one in their hand. So we start, cast Unctus, loot, discard, second Emry. Then let's go Emry on Thought Monitor, loot, Cast Thought Monitor. Loot. Ooh, there's an Otawara. Which I think I'm going to be 1 mana short, unfortunately. I only have 1 Member in the deck. Oh no, it costs 2 to channel because I have 2 legends. So I could do a lot more looting with Unctus's tap ability and the Springleaf Drum. Or I could do some more looting, but should be fine to just... So we go tap this, trigger... Bounce. Could deal 1 more damage by turning Riddlesmith into an artifact creature, I suppose. Your deck is so soft to Creeping Corrosion. Should be playing that over Force of Vigor. Alright. 2-0. 2-0. This is... I'm glad that we're kind of showing off what my testing has taught me, is that Unctus is like way better than it looks too. Obviously you have to like really build around it like this. But like in combination with Riddlesmith, you just like churn through your deck while also just doing the normal affinity thing. And I think that in a lot of ways it helps solve Affinity's problem of being like really weak to removal. Definitely gonna keep this. Land would be nice. Land Emry off the top would be really nice. We do have 2 mana here. There's a good chance I just play Drum on turn 1 and don't play the Memnite. Could obviously play the Aether Spellbomb, but holding this for like Riddlesmith value is pretty nice. Yeah, what's also very cool about Unctus is it's like, in addition to being this like nice card advantage engine, is also like a 2/4 artifact board. Ragavan, huh? Well, second Unctus, actually pretty bad draw. I think I'm actually just not playing the Memnite. Seeing you 5-0 and do well with a certain brew of yours. How do you come to the conclusion of what I would play in a tournament? I mean, it's just all... I don't know. I don't have a formula for what to play, but, you know, it's just like a lot of, like, evaluation about what everything looks like at the moment of deck selection. Yeah, I think you could build this deck to be more, like, Blue Steel-esque. I tried for a while, and this is kind of where I ended up instead, but you could. A land would be awesome here. We could go Riddlesmith into Aether Spellbomb into Memnite, drawing 2 extra cards. I guess maybe only 1 extra card if they bolt the Riddlesmith, but missing a land would be bad. Our turn will be much less impactful. Okay, we found the land. Amazing. If they bolt this, we get, 2 for 1. Gonna float a mana. Okay. Would have been... Riddlesmith would have been like +3 cards here if my opponent didn't have a bolt. GG's Jobo. How you liking the list? So this is game 1. I do typically like to prioritize Saga tokens a bit higher in game 1 situations. It's got 2 cards. Gonna take the hit. Might cast Unctus. We'll see. If they have a Bauble, they can actually cast Emry. They don't though. Saga token would be a 4/4. Unctus is like definitely weak to a second copy of Unholy Heat. My opponent does only have 2 cards in their hand. I think we came here to cast Unctus, huh? I feel like Moonsnare would be stronger than Springleaf. You don't need a lot of colored sources. You do. You're playing a double blue card. We could also be playing Moonsnare though, but the problem with like you could be playing like 4 Springleaf, 4 Moonsnare, and then at that point Urza is probably a lot more appealing. But I don't know. Let me cook a little bit. We'll see. It's gonna take some time to tune the list, but this is, I think, a solid first draft. But like I agree with me not having like a ton of colorless lands, but that's mostly because like I'm playing Unctus. Also, like Riddlesmith, you have Riddlesmith and Emry, which both don't tap the Moon Snare, which is a smaller deal for sure. Okay, I can't. Same problem with the Ornithopter again, where I can't turn it into the right type. I kind of want to get Mox Amber. And I also want to attack with the Ornithopter so that I can get a loot here and hopefully hit my land drop, or we could, find a different one drop to play. Kind of Unctus flooded. But having the 7/7 construct is like a good amount of security plus Aether Spellbomb. Damn. This is kind of a hard decision point. Bounce Ragavan, bounce Shredder, take 4. All seem reasonable. I think I'm going to take 4. Murktide Region is just like game over if they have one. If I bounce the Shredder or if they have a land. I think I can go to 8 here. Can I go to 6? I don't think I need to. I think I can probably just pay a blue mana. Are they countering my Ornithopter? Alright, deal. Okay, so I can just go cast Copter. They get a Connive, which is not ideal, but I can also turn this into a blue creature and then crew the Copter potentially. Or I can crew the Copter and then turn it blue off Springleaf Drum and then... can it crew itself? Can a creature crew itself? Any number of creatures you control with total power 1 more. I think a creature can crew itself, right? Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say other creatures. I'm reading it right now. It says tap any number of creatures you control. Not since they changed it. Okay, this is out of date text. So let's go ahead and crew the Copter, and then I think I'm going to block, get my loot, then bounce the Ledger Shredder. Oh, sorry, I kept thinking I could turn this blue at instant speed. I can't, right? I still only at sorcery speed. Such a weird rule. Okay, I think I'm going to commit to paying 2 life here. If we get double bolted, we get double bolted. Crew, loot. Then I'll cast Memnite to get the Ovalchase Daredevils back to loot again. I could spend a blue to make my Copter blue here. I think that's fine. Attack 4, 6. Remember, Unctus doesn't trigger on itself. We get 2 more loots. 1. 2. Riddlesmith is nice. Put it down to 7. But I think I'm just gonna play a Copter here, and then I can crew it on defense if they kill my Memnite. Well, I suppose if they kill the Memnite now, then they can hit me. Watsy said sorcery speed makes it easier on players. Not easier on me. When will they think of me? Okay. Yeah, I'm actually, I think, happy if they're killing this instead, because now I'm not dead to 2 bolts. And if they put me to 4th, Ragavan's not that big of a problem. Emry is not too bad of a hit, though. It's 2 mana for them, and it flashes back Bauble. And also now we'll let them connive. Pretty good pickup. Although they may be just declining to do that at all. We'll see. But now we have Riddlesmith plus Unctus, which can get kind of crazy. Take this up. And then I think I'm just going to go tap this for blue, see what we draw, and then if I brick, which I did brick, I can still just make a construct and have an easy enough time crewing 2 4/4 Copters here. All right. All right. Dude, my opponent beat with Ragavan like 3 times. I guess Spellskite not very good against Brotherhood End. Kind of nice otherwise in this matchup. Like, I want to cut the Gingerbrute. Don't usually like Lantern. I think Mamber is probably pretty cuttable in this matchup too. Alright, I'm gonna bridge this. Yeah, we're soft to Brotherhood End, we're soft to Creeping Corrosion, but I do think the card advantage from Riddlesmith and Unctus do help you play through those cards. Or not Cryptid Lantern. I think Cryptid Lantern are not good against Murktide, like just full stop. I do not. I just in general don't recommend bringing in either of those cards in this matchup. In almost any deck, there may be some exceptions. Just gonna keep with this one more land. Pretty easy mulligan. Pretty easy keep. I'm gonna put back Copter or Riddlesmith. Let's put back the Copter. They see Legacy versions came out with Chief Engineer. I didn't know. I tried to build this deck with Chief Engineer. I'm not sure how different a Legacy version would be, but I'd be open to taking a look to see if there's any inspiration. Good draw, by the way. I didn't see Caleb's version, though. Yeah, so I started with Chief Engineer and then Grand Architect also. There was a lot of, like, weird... Oh, they have a one-lander? Like, weird, like... balance issues isn't what I want to call it, but, like... Again, like, brewing is like painting, and, like, there's moving pieces a lot of the time, and... There were some moving pieces that were correlated with, like, blue steel that were tough, and then, like... Balancing, like... big powerful things to like ramp into with Grand Architect and Chief Engineer is tough, and like balancing that with like interactive elements like Chalice of the Void and Thorn of Amethyst was really difficult for me too. If they missed it, land, the game's just over, I think. I like the attack here. Oh, sorry, I should have played Unctus first here. It's not a big deal, but I would have gotten an extra loot, which is, you know, very valuable with the old Ovalchase Daredevil. Yeah, I have creaky pipes during the wind. They creak when it's windy, and it's been pretty windy in this time of year. Okay, so I guess we'll just go ahead and go blue, spend a blue mana on Memnite, and then attack for... Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that this... I obviously just brought it back. So I guess I could have spent a life and then tapped this to the Memnite instead. That's okay, we're pretty ahead. Do you have any snow? Usually snows like twice a year. We had like a pretty bad freeze earlier this year already, actually. Islet, the worst card in Murktide. They get the Emry off the field, though, but it's likely too little too late. I guess I'm not locked into making a Saga token because of the explosives. I'm just thinking about potentially casting an artifact before I attack here, so that I can actually loot away the Daredevil off the Unctus triggers, but I think it's okay not to. I could have also paid 2 life to make Riddlesmith an artifact to deal 1 more damage, which is probably which probably would have been worth it. I think there's going to be some learning curve, of course, for this deck. Already has been. The tree direction Austin saw. As far as I know, Austin got like the worst of it this time around. All right. 3-0, let's go. Every day, a new trophy with a new 1 brew, huh? The Fairy Mastermind card is worth all the hype. Honestly, I feel like I haven't heard. I feel like we're always in the play with this. I feel like I haven't been hearing a lot of hype for it. I like the card. I think that the card is like a good legacy EDH, maybe standard, maybe pioneer. Unlikely to be a big modern card though. The only deck in modern, Murktide. Fantastic draw. 2-4 on turn 2. Think I'll do the trophy race again? I think I will likely do it again at some point, but I'm not going to do it just to do it. I'll do it because I want to. Okay. I'm going to spend 2 life here. Make this blue. Loot with the Ornithopter. Get this back. Don't want to trigger Connive. Go just equip here. Pass back. Yeah, I think 1 has been like the most modern relevant set we've had in a really long time. Happy enough to take this 2 for 1, especially with backup Unctus in my hand. Pass back again. Yeah, they did miss a damage. So that gives them Delirium, so if they have another heat, they can kill my Unctus, which would be bad. Already used 1, though. It was like a Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 6, Murk. So 8 Murktide. Oh, no Murktide, just Counterspell. Love that. Love that for us. So I have 4 artifacts. This costs 3. So we can go Drum plus Thought Monitor. I think what I'll do is I'm going to go cast a Drum. Cast a Drum. Turn this blue. Attack for 6 and then loot. Keep this back to crew, I think. Or it's not crew, to Springleaf Drum. Don't think it's very likely my opponent doesn't have a counter spell. Don't think they'll ever counter this drum. Oh. Interesting. So now I get to go 2 mana Thought Monitor or Copter. I think I'll go 2 mana Thought Monitor. Into... I think I'll equip the... No, let's not equip because then I can block a Ragavan with the Thought Monitor. This year, 12 months, happy anniversary. Think Boggle's well positioned? No, I think it's easy to trick yourself into like, this is it. It's Boggle time, but I think it's like just not going to be Boggle time ever again, probably. Okay, loot away Counterspell. Let's go ahead and take 4. I do an Arag. Down to 8. Yeah, it's maybe Boggle Time and Pioneer. But I've seen many good Magic players delude themselves into thinking that it is Boggle Time, and it just hasn't been Boggle Time. You know what I mean? All right, let's I think just make a Saga token rather than. Wait, can I cast Copter and make a Saga token? I think I have to make the Saga token first. So I go tap Riddlesmith, or tap Saga, tap Springleaf Drum, Riddlesmith token. Then I only have one flying blocker, and I'm like way more vulnerable to dying to like two lightning bolt effects. So let's do this instead. Any chance Grixis Murktide could exist? Thoughtseizes and Edict are nice ones. It's just like I don't think there's a good reason to be like Thoughtseize is not a card I would play in the counterspell focused Murktide deck. I just like wouldn't play the card probably unless you're playing Death Shadow, which is actually something we've done in the past. But yeah, I don't think I'd do it. Ludus could have been relevant in any game so far. Yep, it's been good enough. This card's Consider. We beat Murktide last match with like double Copters, were really relevant. It's also very good with Unctus again. Okay, so let's block here and then attach Cranial Plating onto the Thought Monitor. Hopefully I'm not getting Otawara. Main deck Dress Down? Oh, I was about to ask. Okay, Judge, how does Shadowspear plus Dress Down work? I believe if I equip Shadowspear after this Dress Down is in play, I'm able to give this lifelink, right? Okay, thank you, Judge. So we're gonna go Shadowspear, 2 mana equip, plus Cranial Plating equip, plus leave up Aether Spellbomb activation. Winning game 1 of this matchup is like really important. That main deck Dress Down though, like just totally wrecks us. Pretty unlucky. And they flip a lightning bolt, so we're dead. Seems like they missed lethal last time and I killed my fly. Oh, they did! Yeah, why did they kill the? Did they have a bobble trigger or something? Yeah, they could have killed me. Right. If there's a bobble trigger, maybe that's different. Damn. Or was it maybe? Yeah, maybe off the Dress Down, right? Brutal game though. No, we just played against Murktide. We just beat them. I do not recommend bringing in Lantern or Tormod's Crypt against Murktide. I think it is actively bad to like delay a Murktide for a turn at the cost of a card and a card and a mana when it comes to Soul Guide Lantern. Like turning off Delirium is sometimes relevant, for sure. Like it sometimes is relevant, but it's almost like never worth a card, and I think it is not good to bring in. And this is like a dynamic that's I felt for a long time in many decks. Mirrored Image Siege would be funny. Yeah, it would be funny, huh? Okay, let's keep this. Pretty good hand. Yeah, Nihil Spellbomb is the opposite, because Nihil Spellbomb and Relic, I think these cards are good against Murktide. Because because the card replaces itself, which is the most important thing, and of course the cards don't replace themselves with No, let me do it again. Don't bolt the Riddlesmith. Dang it. So I can hold the Ornithopter for another Riddlesmith. I can play it right now for Ledger Shredder. I think I'm gonna hold it. How do you feel about Lavinia versus Magistrate? It just depends on how much rhinos there is usually. Rhinos there are. I guess like Copter. Pathways for Haywire Mite. People have been like freaking out about the pathways. Pathways! Exclamation point. I've seen it a bunch. We're just like, it's just an island that sometimes lets you Haywire Mite in your mono blue deck. Alright, I'm gonna just make them use the bolts, I guess. Oh, whoops. Not gonna play these for both Riddlesmith and Connive stopping purposes. I'll attack. We had a Ornithopter, Cranial Plating, Spellskite, and still have the Copter in the yard. Probably falling to a pathetic 3-1 record. Oh. Well, I mean, they still have 3 mana up here, but if this somehow gets through, nope. Think you could try Riddlesmith and Asmo together? You can try. I think that is a direction you can go. I think that there's overlapping synergy for sure. I've started to build it a few times and gotten stuck on it a few times though. But it doesn't mean that there's no way to do it, of course. 1 artifact or land short of Thought Monitor here. I guess I'll play one of the Ornithopters. Lush, 4 months, thank you. Ornithopter, stonewalling the Shredder, I suppose. It's a good draw. Guess I don't have 6 actually. Shazy, 7 months, thank you. Discard another Canal. Shredder's so good. Another counterspell. They put another Canal in their yard. Card on top. Gonna see the next Double Sugar League. Next time I'm super bored, probably. Which could be any day now. My opponent kept a card on top here. I'm a bit worried about Dress Down or Explosives or another really good answer to Saga. So I think what I would like to do here is maybe draw some freaking cards. They have to have, like, you know, Unholy Heat or Counterspell to really punish this line. If it's Dressed Down, it's not so bad. So I think we hold the Memnite because of Connive. Pass back. Save me, Unctus. You're my only hope. Attacking with both is pretty scary. Maybe we're not getting Brotherhood ended. I feel like they have Dressed Down. Like I don't know if I can like really read into that pause in any other way. Which will be hard card to beat, of course. I can have Aether Spellbomb I can get for the Murktide. So I have flying blockers. the play? What's the play? Do I play both of these? Let my opponent connive twice? Maybe. Do I pay 2 life going down to 4? Probably not. There's maybe not... It's maybe not that big a deal to go to 4, right? Since... I die to like a bolt plus a shredder hit anyways, or a channel hit anyways. The problem is like then I can't let a shredder hit me. But maybe I just like maybe that's not that big of an issue to not let shredder hit me, if that makes sense. So let me cast this Memnite, and then I'm going to make Memnite blue with Unctus's ability, and then I'm going to bounce the Murktide region, and this will let me loot. So it looks like my opponent's thinking about using the Dress Down now, which is interesting. And they keep a card on top, which is bad. But I guess I can just bounce the Murktide on my instep and still get the loot. I don't know if I like making the token. The reason, I mean, I made the token because like I wasn't doing. I guess I could have used the mana for Unctus instead, but sometimes like you have Dress Down red in this kind of situation, but like if you're just wrong about the read, you're like winning a game easily. That you're like Jedi mind tricking yourself into like, oh, they definitely have Dress Down. I'm not gonna make the token even though I just have 3 extra mana. I'm not doing anything with. It's just. I think it's a good way to just trick yourself into losing a game that you were otherwise going to win. I guess I can triple block Channeler, maybe. What number iteration is this, also? Oh, it's number 1. The last game, they had more iterations. So that's number 1. They have another Channeler. So, I think we triple block Channeler, take 3 Data Bolts. Bolt. Tough game. Beat Murktide, lost to Murktide. Let's wait for a 4-1. I gotta get back on the grind. A reasonable hand. Yeah, if you want to dig it up, I'd like to read it. When I played against Martin at the Pro Tour I played him at, we got deck tech and we sat and chatted for a while. It was really nice. You will live, Riddlesmith, you're going to live. Too soon to say goodbye. Yes, Aspiring Spike. I'm actually going to cast the drum first because my opponent has a bolt. They might think I can't do anything else. Forbid me now to die. I'll obey. I will try. Let's go. Riddlesmith living. Crazy. Who was the chatter that said Riddlesmith lol? Where are you now? Reveal yourself. Yeah, maybe they mistyped into spell Riddlesmith love. It's already, it's like literally already a 4-for-1. Yeah, Lamau. Share a little lesson around the PT. Martin sat down, show me deck contain 4. Hex Gold Slash. Pretty strong against green white toxic with 5 pump spells. One turn I attacked with a creature and double pump spelled it to eat his creature in combat. My instep with 1 card in hand and 1 red mana. He asked me how much toughness does your creature have now, and confirmed with me how much damage it had on it. Not enough to be finished off by a Hex Gold Slash. I ate this up. I played around the slash for the rest of the game, even going as far as to make a weaker play 1 turn rather than jamming my 6 mana 4/4 double strike into play. Later, when I watched him discard the land that had been in his hand the whole time to throw a possibility, I instantly felt like such a fish for giving him as much equity I had for essentially no reason. I could go back and make 1 change. That's awesome. They didn't ping Riddlesmith. They said, Riddlesmith lol. They said, I think that Riddlesmith is a cringe card, actually, and I saw you draw 3 cards with it last turn, but I'm gonna pick up my land things. Yeah, you already drew the cards. The damage is done. Have I drawn 6 cards with Riddlesmith this game? Something like that. Yeah, I think this deck's really exciting. Like yesterday, going into yesterday, like I knew how exciting this deck was. I also knew how exciting the All Will Be One deck was, and I was like, I was so torn on which one to play. And like the fact that I had tweeted about the All Will Be One deck was kind of my tiebreaker. Seven. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, yeah. 7 cards. Literal 8 for 1. I'm just seeing what are some cool lines you can do. Funny you should ask. We're about to do some cool lines, I think. I guess I'll play this so I don't get mana leaked. So Unctus here, we can, like, with Copter and Springleaf Drum, we're able to draw 5 cards. Each of these can be a card, although for these to be cards, I have to pay 2 life to make them blue creatures. And it turns on my Amber, too. Guess we only get to draw 3 more cards this turn. Maybe more than that. So I put it dead. I need to remember I can deal an extra damage by turning. Okay, I can move the Cranial Plating over because I got the Amber open. That was a mistimed lightning bolt for sure. So let me go ahead and equip Cranial Plating here. Turn this into an artifact. This actually gives me 2 extra damage because it becomes an artifact that gets buffed by Unctus and then also by Cranial Plating. And then we would have looted twice with each of these attacked off Unctus's trigger. Pretty good. Okay, so Spellskite is my main anti-creativity sideboard card. We also have an Aether Spellbomb. I think I'm going to go down to Copter for 2 Spellskite. I wonder if we should be playing Urza over Copter so we can like really go through our deck a bit better. We'll see. You can play like 2 Urzas. We'll think about it some more. I don't think I want to make too many changes today. But like Urza also can like, this is something like we were talking about a bit earlier, but Unctus can turn like Riddlesmith into an artifact, and then like Urza can like tap Riddlesmith or tap itself to its own ability to loot. Okay, that actually sounds really sick. Yeah, Urza can tap itself to Unctus. I wonder if we could go... So, I guess... So, one thing we could do, we could go -4 Cranial Plating, -3 Smuggler's Copters, +4 Urza, and then also play -1 Gingerbrute for sure if you cut the Cranial Platings. And then you can play Moonsnare Prototype also. Let's keep this. You get to play Moonsnare also. And then it might require some playtesting. I will never play Sai. I will never play Sai. Sai might not be too bad though. Sai might be okay. But it's like you could like unironically play a Thassa's Oracle at that point, which is like even like sound. I know it's crazy to even say, but I think it's true. That like at that point Thassa's Oracle is kind of fine. Paradise Mantle instead of Moonsnare. I always waffle back so much on those two. You could be right. Some number. Copter for Urza. I don't know. There's some ins and outs to the case for sure. I don't have... So Emry can maybe find me... Ovalchase Daredevil. I don't know, like, I don't know, like, how important it is to be able to end a game. That's, like we're just, like, discussing here. It feels like ending games are not going to be too difficult. You could play, like, one Paradoxical Engine, though. Draw your entire deck, play your entire deck, 4 Urza Saga tokens. Engine's got to be 2. I don't know. I just wish there was like a free include, something that's just like doesn't cost you very much and wins you the game every time. Is that too much to ask for? Clock of Omens? Clock is interesting, yeah. Prio play Iconoclast before the first. I don't know. Yeah, but Urza seems interesting in this build too. So like, you know, it could just be like 2 pretty distinct different builds. One like this more aggressive version with Cranial Plating, and then also with Urza. I was playing with Upheaval. You could play like one Upheaval maybe. Upheaval's kind of bad, but I guess you can also loot it away. Could this be an outcome deck? I think that, like, I don't know. It feels like so my thing here, my thinking is like the engine of like Urza plus Unctus plus Riddlesmith lets you like go through most of your deck and win the game. And so like Aether Grid sucks. I think Aether Grid is really weak. But if you're going to do something along these lines, wait, are they not creativity? I think they're Escape Shift actually. If you're going to do something along these lines, if you're going to play a card that's like just to win the game, like it might just be best to be Thassa's Oracle. But it's very likely that you don't need a card that just says I win the game when I get to draw my deck and make all the mana, because like you're probably going to win the game every single time anyways, and just like making a lot of Urza Saga tokens and a generally big board will likely be, you know, enough. I don't think creativity plays Remand. I've seen creativity in Remand, but I think I agree. I think it's more likely to be Escape Shift. But yeah, especially with the basic island. So I was thinking that this Aether Spellbomb being up here was really important. I guess it's not that important. It's okay. Dude, they hit Chalice off the iteration. It's actually brutal. I guess I could loot away 0-drops. But like that's the only card I think that they have in their whole deck that is even relevant after this iteration. Yeah, I guess creativity plays Mana Leak more often, huh? Yeah, living in, or sorry, Escape Shift does like, yeah, pop up in top 8s from time to time. It's like a pretty underrated deck, honestly. Is Shredder better than Voidfor, or is it Bobble that makes it better? Bobble making it better, or, you know, it's irrelevant if it's Bobble or not, right? If it's better, it's better. And it is better. And it's, I don't know. It's better. Okay, that's a good pickup. Let me go ahead and sack this looking for a land now that I know that they're not on creativity. Didn't find a land. At least this is on cast, so if we draw 0-drops we can still trigger Riddlesmith, I suppose. It's on 4 cards in hand. I tried Shredder without Bobble, it felt very weak. It's worse for sure. It's you know, just like Channeler and Shredder would be much less premium cards without it, of course. He remanded. So how does my... I guess I don't want this Spellskite. Spellskite's actually not that bad against their Escape Shift plan, though. Probably don't want the Aether Spellbomb. On 3 cards, they didn't play a land. They could pretty easily have Escape Shift. Mini decks are underrated. It's overrated. Murktide is the most overrated deck. It's good, but I don't know. It's it's got a lot of weaknesses and a lot of rough matchups, and is fine. It's very fine. I would actually say Rhinos is underrated based on how like nobody plays it. Alright, Dead Escape Shift. Is creativity perfectly rated? I don't know. It feels like creativity in some ways is a little bit like Titan, where people waffle back and forth between creativity being very highly rated, very lowly rated. This does not bring to light. They might not. I don't think they're on the bring to light version though. I'll just bring the Copters back in. Amulet is overrated. Well, Amulet. It's hard for me to think of Amulet as an overrated deck when Amulet players like routinely waffle between Amulet being the best deck ever printed, and we're all geniuses for learning it and playing it. And they waffle between that and the deck is literally unplayable. Please help. It's like the Emperor Palpatine meme. Please, I'm so weak. I'm just a little Amulet player. Don't hurt me. I think I'll put back the Shadowspear here. I think I want both Memnite Sticker the Copter. But it's also a mulligan to 6 here. In my opinion, Amulet's a tier 2 deck, a solid good one, but it's not good enough for people to have it. It's not good when people have it on the radar, a bit like Affinity back when Twin was legal. I don't know, the words tier have kind of stopped like having any meaning to me to some extent, but like Titan does have it has several bad matchups for sure, but it is also like definitely a deck that can just like draw so well that like even though you're in a bad matchup, it literally doesn't matter. You can't lose. And it's just kind of a funny dynamic, you know. I don't know, the tier stuff, like your definition of tier 2 is like, you know, different from other people's definitions. It's just, again, hard to define somewhat. It has games that can literally draw nuts and can't win. That is true. That is true. That is definitely true. Okay, fire my Memnites, sure. Can create the Copter with the Saga token. If we don't get forced. He wants that there's no tiers, a deck that can win a tournament, one that won't, is basically how he saw it. Yeah, I think that's like a pretty simple way to think about it. At the very least, I think like conversations with Twitch chat about deck tiers is pretty unproductive, because I think like Amulet Titan is a very, very good deck. If you are an Amulet Titan player and you spend your time mastering the strategy, you will win a lot when Amulet Titan is well positioned, and you will still have a positive win rate when Amulet Titan is poorly positioned, but you won't win as much, is kind of my opinion on the deck, you know. Let's make a token. I guess I could make a token off of this one, though, so I could do something like... Well... No, let's not overthink. I'll just make a token here. I think I'm just putting a Springleaf Drum into play. Why no Memnite? Spike, why no Memnite? Good question. If I spent the amount of time streaming on one modern deck, do you think my win rate would be 99%? It would be higher, for sure. Like, I've spent a long time playing Magic, and I've been talking about this some lately, but my tournament Magic abilities, I think, have diminished since my content brain is rotting my mind. I have like lower tournament endurance, and my deck selection is not as tuned because in the past I've just been like a deck specialist in certain metagames and like been on one deck for a whole season, engaging with Magic in a more normal way. That being said, I'm also like very much in an era of my Magic career where I just get so bored. I get so bored playing some of the more traditional deck lists that it is also kind of hard for me to imagine that my win rate would go up very much. Or sorry, not my. I just would not enjoy Magic as much if I was to just stick to one deck. At this point in my career, I've done that for enough years that this is how I have fun with Magic. This is what is rewarding to me, and I just wouldn't have very much fun. Okay, 4-1. Let's wait. Hold on. 62% on no.